All right, we are live and recording now. So again, today's session, we're going to be looking at external tools, how to take and integrate those into Canvas, how you might use those in your course, what that looks like. We'll talk a little bit. We might get into a little bit of time, if we have it, probably talking about feedback and discussions, but I think we're mostly going to be talking about external tools today, and we may come back and hit that feedback and discussions part later, because I do want to leave some time throughout and time at the end for you to ask any questions related to this topic, not related to this topic, etc. As we go forward. So looks like we got a good group here this morning. So thank you all for taking time out to hang out and talk about Canvas. So before I get too far into this, I do have a couple tips that I want to share, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to put these at the front end of today's session. So the first one, and you may have seen where I have shared this before, and I keep sharing it just because I believe in distilling things down to the most fundamental, like what are the basics? And when we talk about kids, whether they're using Canvas and having a fully online course, asynchronous, all that, or whether we're talking about using it in a blended way or just as a resource for your teaching in your class. These are the 5 fundamental things that one of the folks at Canvas shared during their keynote at CanvasCon. And I just thought, you know, this is so true. And I think it's true of adults too. You know, when I'm doing anything, especially an online course or something online, I want to know, what is it I'm supposed to do? When is this thing due? Am I doing all right? Did I do it right? Am I doing a good job? Are you available to help me? Can I get help from you? And if there's something more I want to explore or do with this, how can I do that? And I have told some folks that we're working with to do some course development for the district. I've said, like, if a student can answer those 5 questions when they come into your course, that's 90% of the work. That's the big thing. So I just keep coming back to this. You'll probably hear me come back to these 5 fundamental things time and time again. I also want to share this link with you. And actually, I need to share a link to the presentation as a whole. So I'll do that too. But I do keep sharing this. This is just a Canvas that I built where I'm sharing resources for Canvas. So there's training stuff in here, videos, outside non-Canvas official resources and things like that. And you can find all that here. If you haven't bookmarked it or been there and bookmarked it yet, here it is. I'd recommend bookmarking it. I'll put stuff, add stuff to this here on out. So this is just going to be a resource that continues to grow, and there'll be more and more stuff here. And it's broken into 6 main sections right now. There's stuff for training. So there's resources from Canvas and other sources on how to do things in Canvas. There's some resources that pertain to designing your course or designing your online Canvas space. Interactive tools, which is what we're going to be looking at a little bit today, but I will tell you, I probably could spend a lot of time beefing that up. I haven't put everything under the sun in there. There's just a few big ones. If you're looking to join communities and be a part of discussions or groups of folks who are doing the same thing that you're doing right now, that community section is there. One question I get asked a lot is, where do I find good images that are copyright free, that I don't have to worry about copyright issues and things like that? This images for your course section has a lot of resources there where you can go find really good images, or it links to Canva, for example, if you want to go create your own images there. And for my elementary folks, there's a section completely devoted to Canvas for littles. And there's resources in there, videos, examples of how teachers are using it across the country and so forth. So some good resources in there. And I set that section up just for our elementary folks. So you can find some things and ideas there. Okay, so that's there. Hopefully you have bookmarked that. I've linked it. Let me go ahead and share this presentation in the chat as well. So if you want to go back through this. Now, this presentation does not have a lot of step-by-step stuff in it. So that's kind of where the video is going to come in handy. But if you want it, you got it. So here we go. And there is today's slide deck. All right, so those are my 2 tips that I wanted to share before we jump into talking about external tools and how those work with Canvas and how we can integrate those things. So one of the things that is just beautiful about Canvas, it is built on a lot of modern standards for online tools using things like HTML5, and I could get into all this geek talk. I won't do that, but it's built on standards, and so therefore it will it has interoperability, or it works nicely with a lot of tools. So I want to show you, or talk a little bit about how to find those tools. Some of them you will know, and you might get some ideas of things that you would like to use. I will tell you ahead of time before I dive into how to find this stuff, that some of these tools will utilize what's called like a code, like a key and a code thing that tool will generate for you. Basically, it's like a fingerprint that ensures that the person using it in Canvas is the person who's using it on the other site. And so that's an easy thing to do. Most of them, you go into your account settings on, I don't know, FlipGrid or Edpuzzle or whatever you're using, and you can find that information and you'll paste it back in. I'll show you how that works. Some of these tools, keep in mind, only integrate with Canvas if you're using a paid subscription to that tool. So a lot of the tools, the free version that a lot of us, I know we're all educators, we love to use the free stuff. So sometimes those services at the free level will not work with Canvas because that's like a premium feature that they include. So just look at that when you're perusing that. So let me dive into Canvas and show you how to find these, how to look through them, and then we'll actually go through the process of setting one up. Okay. So I'm going to switch over to Canvas, and you feel free if you want to do this. If you've got a sandbox course or a course that you're working on and you want to try this out, you can certainly do this. I set up a Mr. G's science class because I still miss the days of teaching science sometimes and love that interaction with kids. So let's talk about how to do this. So here I am. This is my my Canvas. I actually just set this up by bringing in one of our templates. Our templates, by the way, that's another tip that I didn't put in, but our templates are a really good way to get started. And they just kind of give you some framework. You can completely adjust and customize them in whatever way you want. But if you need something to help you kind of get started, our templates are a good way to do that. And you can find those in the Commons. I'm not going to jump down and walk through that process right now. There's a video for that. And I will send that to you if you need it later on. Just shoot me an email and say, hey, can you show me how to get templates? I'll be glad to share that with you. But this is a template. I customized the graphics and all that for this a little bit, just kind of playing around with it. So if I want to integrate an external tool with my course, here's how I do that. So I'm going to come down into my course navigation, down to settings. And there's a lot of stuff here in settings. I would encourage you to look around and just kind of explore a little bit, see some of the things that are there. But if I look across the top, I've got some tabs across the top of the settings, and I want to go to the tab that says apps. And if I know which one I'm looking for specifically, for example, if I was looking like I know I want to do FlipGrid, I can just start typing that, and FlipGrid, if it's there or whatever, if that app is there, it will show up. But let's just assume that I don't know what I'm looking for exactly or how it's labeled. You can scroll through this list, and they're in here alphabetically. So some of these things you may recognize. Some of these you're like, I don't even know what that is. To me, this shows you that the ed tech space, there's tons and tons and tons of players in the ed tech space. BrainPop, for example, is here. Box, if you use, it's kind of like Evernote or online storage sort of thing. You know, there really is tons and tons and tons of stuff. I mean, you can look through that. There's Dropbox, in fact. So anyway, so I look through those and I figure out, like, you know what? I love FlipGrid. I love that in FlipGrid, my students can use their device to record themselves talking about a thing. So I want to integrate that into my class. So I'm going to click on FlipGrid, and it tells me a little bit about this. This is where you'll probably find out, like, hey, this is paid. You've got to have a premium subscription to use that, etc., or whatever. So if I say, hey, this is something I would like to use, then I'm going to click Add App. Now, I believe, and you guys, if you play around with this later, you find out that this is not true, let me know, because just like you guys are learning courses and how courses work and all that, I'm learning that plus the admin side of things. So if it doesn't work like I show it here for you, you let me know. There might be something I need to change, a setting somewhere or whatever. I'm happy to do that. Just need to figure out what it is that we want it to do. So right now it's like, hey, you want to add FlipGrid, you need your consumer key and the shared secret. So this is that fingerprint stuff that I was talking about. So what I'm going to do is, and I already have a FlipGrid account, so I'm going to pull that up here. So I have logged into FlipGrid, and from FlipGrid, and this is going to vary from tool to tool, but typically it's going to be somewhere in your profile, your settings, whatever. So I clicked on profile, and that loads this screen up here. All right. And what I am looking for actually is this thing called integrations. So I can now connect to, and FlipGrid has these built for Google Classroom and for Canvas. So what I want to do is add a new integration, and I'm going to call this Mr. G's science class, and I'm going to click create. So now I have that consumer key and that shared secret. So I'm going to copy the consumer key, just click copy, come back over here where it says add app, and I'm going to click and paste in that consumer key. And then I'm going to come back over here and get that shared secret. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste that in here and click add app. So what this does now, it tells Canvas how to talk to FlipGrid using my account. And once I have students in my roster in Canvas, it connects those as well. It's really cool. Some of these work way cooler than others. FlipGrid, I played around with the other day. I was pretty impressed. Okay, so great. Now I've added this app. What now, right? What now? So let me show you what it looks like then if I want to add a FlipGrid assignment. So maybe I've got in my science class, we're researching all the natural flora and fauna, all the plants and the animals that exist in our area. So let me show you something that I might do as an example. So I'm going to go back. Actually, I'm going to go into my modules. I clicked the wrong thing there. And let's go ahead. And by the way, here's another tip. If some of the modules that you have are getting a little noisy for you, you can click this arrow here and collapse them. So like I keep this from the template, the Canvas student, parents, and resources there because I think that's great, but I don't need to see it every time. So I just click this little arrow here and you can collapse that and get it out of your way. So Amy has a question. Do you have to update that each time your roster changes, or will that happen? Oh, will that automatically happen? That is a fantastic question. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that point where I've tried it yet. In fact, just to play around with some of this stuff, I had to create a dummy student using my personal email account, and it was like I was turning in assignments to myself. I did a pretty good job too, but it's hard at this level. Sometimes it's hard because I don't have a roster of students to play with. I sometimes like, maybe let me teach a class somewhere in a school so I can not only stay rooted in reality, but also practice some of this stuff and try it out. I need student guinea pigs sometimes, but I would assume that you do not have to do that every time, Amy. I think what it does, it connects it. Well, so it's going to be specific to a class. So you may have to set that integration up for each of your classes, or if it's installed, just add it back every time. I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you because I don't have enough experience yet to know. But you may have to do it per class So each year, for example, for elementary folks, or if you're middle or high, like you have different sections, you would do it for each one of those. Or it may show up in all of your classes at that point. So give it a try and find out and see. I'm not 100% sure. That's a good question. Okay, so here's my first module, and this is just, I've been playing around with this, so it's a big mess right now. But I'm going to add an assignment. So to add anything to a module, I just come to the top of the module. Again, I'm going to click this plus sign here, and I choose what it is I want to add to the module. So yeah, it's going to be an assignment, and we're going to call this local wildlife FlipGrid activity. Okay. Now this indentation thing here, I'm actually going to indent it just because I like how it formats. So you can do that. You can play around with that if you want to. So I add that, and remember, if I add new things, they always show up at the bottom. So I'm just going to drag it up here because this is something we're going to do early on in the week or the module, depending on how I've got it set up. I'm just going to drag it up to the top, close to the top here. All right. And now I just want to click on that assignment to edit it. Now remember, assignments, typically, you don't have to, but assignments are things that students are going to do that you have the option of taking a grade on. Okay, you don't have to take grades on assignments. You can put an assignment in. It's something that they are supposed to do, but it doesn't create an entry in the grade book. So you don't have to do that. But most of the assignments that I would put in, I'd put some sort of grade on them. Probably, that's just me. You can also add rubrics to this. The rubric thing is fantastic in Canvas, and you can create rubrics and reuse them over and over. So that's a really cool thing. But again, I'm not going to get into that for this. We're just going to edit this activity. So when I click this assignment and I click edit, it's going to load up the rich content editor, the same thing I use to create pages and all that stuff. And so it looks just like I'm editing a page, and that's kind of how it's going to look, except there's going to be something for the kids to do attached to that. So let's call this, I'm just going to paste that same title in here, and I'm going to give them some instructions. I would flesh this out way more, probably put pictures in and stuff if I were doing this with students, but for the sake of time, I won't. Here's what I want you to do. Go into your neighborhood or backyard and observe at least 2 animals and 2 birds, 2 plants. And let's see, afterwards, share a FlipGrid telling about what you saw. I would flesh this out way more, especially at the high school or middle school level. But you could scale this however you want to. And here, let's just make this a bigger thing here. The instructions. Here's what I want you to do. Okay, I could add a lot more to this, pictures, etc., whatever. Okay. Anyway, let's scroll down. So this is an assignment. I can give it a certain number of points. Now, I'm not going to do like a point-based class. Everything in my class is worth 100 points, and then we would average it out. Assignment group, you can set up different assignment groups. And that's things like discussions and projects and whatever, however you want to set that up. You think about your course and if you take grades, how those grades work and all that. I just using assignments in general right now. Display the grades as points, that's fine. So here's where the magic happens, the submission type. So there are 3 different kinds of submissions. Online means that students are going to do something online. I'll show you what that looks like actually while we're here. It could be that they just get a text box and respond by typing something in. It could be that if I gave them an assignment, hey, I want you to create a website. I mean, I'm just saying, like if I were doing a high level tech course or whatever, and like create a website, send me a link to your website, you could check that box and they would have to submit a URL. Or if they're creating a video, I want you to create a video and send me a link or your file. Or if they're just uploading a file, create a PDF, blah, blah, blah. Most of you probably not going to use that stuff, but I just wanted to show you that, just so you know. That's online. On paper assignments are where you've given them something to do in class, like handwritten kind of stuff or a craft or something like that. It's actual physical, not digital, but you're taking a grade for it. And you want to record that in the grade book. That's what on paper would be. But for what we're talking about here is external tool. So when I click external tool, this option pops up and it says, hey, enter or find the tool URL. So you want to click the find button, and any tools that you have connected to your course as apps will show up here. Okay, now I've got FlipGrid in twice because I have it put on, well, 3 times it looks like now. So yeah, I'm thinking that you only have to do this once, Amy, but I'm getting that impression now. So I think it's this last one, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. So you click on the one you want to use. It's kind of highlighted gray like that, and then you click select, and it fills in that URL stuff for you automatically. And we'll come back and show you what that looks like in a moment. So there's the tool. I've selected where I want to use it. How many attempts do kids have to do this assignment? Unlimited, once, you decide, and due date and all that stuff is here as well. So once I've got that, I'm going to click save and publish. And now I can see my assignment. Give it just a second to load up. So this is where this gets really cool. Because now inside of Canvas, and when students click on it, they don't have to go to an external site. They don't have to leave and go to FlipGrid. That FlipGrid is living right there inside that assignment. It automatically will pull their information in, as I understand. Again, I don't have any students to play with this, but it should connect to them, and they can record their response. So, for example, right here. So I'll show you what that looks like if I were a student. So, hey, I went outside in my backyard and I saw 2 hawks, and I also saw some dandelions and an oak tree, and it was awesome. We all need to be outside more. Okay, that's my response. So let me scroll down. Oh, I didn't even record it. See, tech fail. Look at that. Hey, I went outside in my backyard and I saw 2 hawks, a dandelion that I pulled up, so my dad would be happy with me. And I also saw an oak tree. Okay. So then I click next. I can review it if I want to. I'm not going to edit that. I'm going to post it. And now my post is up there. And as a teacher accessing this activity, you will see all of your students' responses here. So again, it all lives inside of Canvas. So this is, anytime you can do this, I'm a fan of it because it keeps students from having to go to outside places. And Canvas then becomes kind of our foundation that we build on. So that's one example of how you can integrate these external tools. FlipGrid works great. I also love FlipGrid because it's absolutely free. Kudos to Microsoft for doing that. I love that it's a free tool, and some students like it. Again, a little other commentary about FlipGrid. I would say allow your students to not have to necessarily film themselves, but if they just want to film something else while they talk, if they don't feel comfortable putting their face on the screen. Some kids are a little, less selfie oriented than others. So make sure that, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I would put that in the instructions here if it were me designing this, but yeah. And then I can go in and grade those if I want to. In fact, those things will now show up in SpeedGrader. So I could go in to SpeedGrader. I haven't tried this, so I really don't know what's going to happen right now. Yeah, so there's no, it's only the teacher one yet, so none of the students have assignments, but I could review them here, go ahead and give them their grade, any comments that I wanted to give them about, hey, you like that, but you only gave us 1 plant. Go out and redo it again and make sure you get 2 plants the next time. I can even, I love this feature inside of Canvas. as a teacher, I think I've shared this with you before. Maybe if you've seen this, I can record video feedback to my students directly inside of Canvas, which is great. I'm not going to do that right now. I can even record audio feedback and just say, or I'm sorry, this is text to speech to text. If I'm in a hurry and I just want to say it, I haven't tested to see how good that does. Be careful. Sometimes speech to text can get you in trouble. And if I have any files to attach to my feedback to students, I can do that here. But probably for this, I would just give them 100 and say, dude, that was awesome. I love oak trees and dandelions are the biggest pests in the world. Or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's how that works. Let's see. Does it have? Okay, now, okay, just curious about that. So I'm going to close the speed grader. So that's how app integration works. Different apps integrate in different ways. FlipGrid works primarily as an assignment-based app. Sometimes when I put apps in, they'll show up as something that I can create content in the rich content editor, in the pages, for example. So that's just one thing I wanted to share that with you. And I'll pause now because I know that was a lot and see if any of you have any questions. And I'll take something to drink. Okay, that was sufficient wait time in my book. All right, so let's jump in and talk about some other ways that we can add content well, first off, yes, some of that stuff can be accessed from the rich content editor. I will show you that real quick. Let me go back, and I'm just gonna select a page from this course and show you what that might look like. So I'm going to click View All Pages, and let's do this Learning Module 1 overview and to-do list. By the way, these templates, if you haven't looked, especially the one that's called Online Course Template, which I just recently added to the Commons, and the 312. One of the 312 ones has a lot of this stuff built in. So there's some page templates in there that you're welcome to use if you want to. So you could, it's like, for example, it has an overview, it has a place for your learning targets. If you want to share a to-do list with students, that's all there. But let's talk about integrations inside of that rich content editor. All right, so here I am editing this page. And I have integrated and connected Google Drive to my account. So that icon is there, and I can pull in anything from my Google Drive into my site. I'm not going to wait for that to load up. Yeah, just abandon that. Okay, close, go away. Okay, but you can add other stuff as well. Some of the other apps will add stuff to the buttons here. So just to let you know, that's a thing. So let's jump back over here and talk just for a moment. Okay, we did FlipGrid. I got ahead of my slides. Let's talk about other ways to get stuff in and embedding. So embedding is a great way to get content into your pages as well. So let me show you how that works. Let's say, for example, let's say I've got a Google Slides presentation that I want to share with my students, like maybe it's course notes, or maybe it's some activities or something like that I want them to go through to view. And so I'll show you what that looks like. Let's just say we're going to take today's presentation and embed it right there. This might be a cell presentation, or parts of speech, or grammar practice, or something like that. So I'm going to come in to my Google Slides, and I'm going to click Publish to Web, because what I want is that embed code. And so Google Slides, you have to publish them first, and then you can get the embed code. So I'll click, it's published. Okay. All right. And let's see my settings. Medium size, every 3 seconds. Start the slideshow. If it's something I want to auto rotate, I can set those things. But I just want this code right here. So I'm going to copy this and get that embed code. And then I'm going to come back to my module. And let's say, I don't know, let's just put it here to pretend This is not part of the review. Review this presentation. All right, let's make that a little bigger and obvious. All right, so I'm going to put my cursor where I want this thing to be. And then to embed stuff into any page or assignment, I'm just going to come out here and click this little cloud that's at the far right of the rich content editor. And it says, hey, put your embed code in. So I'm going to paste that code from my Google Slides and click submit. Good gracious, it's big. There we go. So now my presentation is built directly into this page. In fact, let's save it and take a look and see what that looks like. All right, so there's my presentation built in. If that's too big, you can go back and get an embed code with a smaller version of that. That's up to you. Students can now come and click right through the presentation, all while staying inside of Canvas, which is great. So I just embedded that. So let's say then, because I love some YouTube, let's say we want to get a good YouTube video in here to go along with this. Now, Canvas does this thing. If you just post a link to a YouTube video, it'll create this little thumbnail version of the video that's there. And that's okay. Some people like that. I don't. In fact, I got to the point where I don't like it because I don't know, it just breaks. It doesn't look smooth in the page or whatever. I'm a snob, sorry. But what I'd rather do is just take a video and embed it rather than just post a link. Let me show you what I mean by that. It's easy to demo. So let me get to YouTube and give you an example. All right. So let's see. How about, this will be great. Here's some great music for students to listen to while they're studying. Some lo-fi hip hop marathon, a 10-hour video. Just put this on in the background and chill, right? I see some of you nodding. You know what I'm talking about. This stuff is good. Go on YouTube and find lo-fi. Usually it doesn't have a lot of lyrics in it, or it might have some old clips that just kind of repeat, and it's usually just kind of chill music. I put it on in my office when I don't want to find myself singing along with the music while I'm working. All right, so let me just show you what it looks like if I just paste the link. So I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to, let's say, listen to this and chill. Because my students are wound up and they need to chill. All right. So if I just post the link in here, and let me save it. I think it's going to work. It does that thing. Let's see. All right. So my students have gone through their Canvas presentation. They're all wound up, and they need to unwind with 10 hours of lo-fi hip hop type music or whatever. So see how it generates that automatic little thumbnail there? That's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm just not a fan of that. The way it looks and kind of the way it flows. So I'm going to change that, and I'm actually going to embed the video. I just think it looks better personally. So let me go back and edit. Taking its time loading up. This is why they're all wound up and they need to chill, because the internet's slow. All right, so I'm going to take that link out, and okay, let's try that again. Here. Just back it all out of there. Okay, so let's go back to my 10-hour lo-fi hip hop marathon. I'm going to click share, and on YouTube I'm going to click this embed code thing here, and yeah, I'm just going to copy that code right there. Come back over to my awesome page. Click the cloud again to embed and paste that in. Click submit. Now the video is right there inside the page, player controls and everything. So let's save and see what that looks like. So there's a presentation. There's some music for them to listen to. They can just click play. It plays right in the, oh, it's Epidemic Lo-Fi. All right. See, that's just nice. Just chill music, instrumental, elevator music. You can call it what you want. I don't care. I'm not embarrassed. I love it. All right. So again, that's the embed feature. I like that. So a lot of your tools, you don't necessarily need to do the whole app thing. Sometimes it's just, I want a video in there, I want my presentation there. You can embed Google Forms. Google Forms can get you an embed code, even whole Google Docs and things like that. There are ways to embed lots of different things in, and so that tool is fantastic. Again, it's that little cloud that's there in the rich content editor on the far right. So really awesome tool. So let's go back here and see if there's anything else that I want to share about that. So we demoed that. That was my last major demo, planned demo. I do want to also just point out something that you may have, if you've been in here a bit lately, you may have noticed this pop up, this immersive reader thing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with immersive reader. Again, kudos to Microsoft. It's a tool that they've made completely free. But what immersive reader will do for anyone who wants it, it will take a page and convert it into a very visual format. So if you're visually impaired, helps with that, and it will read the page to you.
Learning Module 1, Overview and To-Do List. Overview. Review this presentation.
Now, things that are embedded aren't going to show up, obviously.
Overview for this module. This is a space to share with your
students. But really awesome tool
or concepts
for students who are working on literacy, for your English language learners, for students who have visual impairments or whatever. It's built in. So that's built in. I turned that on district wide, so that little button will show up. So you just may want to keep that in mind. Show that to students, who might benefit from that. But that's built in now. So I'm going to stop there and see if there are questions about any of this, anything I can help with related to this, and anything else Canvas related that you want to talk about, ask questions about. Don't hesitate. Feel free to put it in the chat or unmute and just ask away. Such a content and quiet bunch today. So let's do this while I'm waiting on questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, and you can put this in the chat, with 1 being I am so lost, I have no idea what's going on. Canvas, what is Canvas? To 10, I'm a pro. I love this. I can't wait to use Canvas. I've got everything developed and I'm completely done and ready to roll. Where do you fall on a scale of 1 to 10 at where you are right now? I should have said 5's not an option. All people want to be right in the middle. That's okay. Okay. All right. So that's good. I'm optimistic about these numbers. I'm excited about what I'm seeing. So that's good. So let me follow that up with another question. Thinking about what you know about Canvas already, what is a topic that you would like to see on a future Friday session like today's? What's something you would like to know more about? The ones that I've done so far have been a result of what folks have asked for in the Facebook group. I put that out there, and these were some of the things that people asked for. I still have planned a session specifically on Google and how Google connects to Canvas and how they work together. Using that new Google, what's called the Google LTI 1.3, pretty slick, but you got to play with it and a little bit, but really, really nice feature there. So I've got one coming up on that. That might be next week. But what other topics? Yeah, Brandy, I get that lack of time. It's tough right now, finding time. So let me put some things to you in a different way, and I think I've said this in other sessions. Keep in mind, I know some of you are perfectionists and you want to be super ultra prepared, but just keep in mind, like even August and day one, when students come back to us, if you you have a couple of weeks worth, you got a framework, you know what you're doing and where you're going, but you only have like a couple of weeks worth of content or whatever, you're developing a couple of weeks ahead of the students, that's fine. So just kind of think like, okay, I need at least 2 weeks worth of stuff, maybe, or whatever works for you. As a teacher, I was notorious for kind of like planning just ahead of where my students were. I'll admit that. So, don't feel like you have to have a fully fleshed out, everything's ready to go day one kind of thing. Marty, you want me to build your classes for you? Now I will tell you, I'm willing to have a one-on-one with you sometime if you want to schedule that, any of you, and kind of talk about what are some next steps for you. I've done that with some folks already, and even looking at side by side, like your Haiku and your Canvas side by side, and say, okay, if you like this and this works for you in Haiku, here's how I would translate that into Canvas and copy and paste those things over. Tony is willing to pay someone to build her classes. So any of you looking for a side hustle right now, good opportunity. I'll let you guys negotiate that price. I'm not getting involved. And at this point, Marty, I'm not willing to do that for pay at this point, just because, well, that could get weird from an HR perspective, But are there other things, sessions or things like that I could do for you?
Hey, Lucas.
Yes.
Is there any like requirements as far as our Canvas pages? Because, when we had our Power School pages, they had certain requirements, and I'm like building my pages as I go, which I'm pretty much using my Power School pages to do that with. So I feel like I'm okay, but I don't want to spend all this time and then come August, they go, oh, by the way, your page has to look like this.
That's a good question, and it's actually that's a battle I've been fighting a little bit. Not that there's a conflict or anything at this level or anything. It's just that the history of how things were done in the past versus kind of how we're moving forward now is a little different. So here's what I would make sure that my course has. I would make sure that my course has everything that I would share with a parent about me and my class. This is just like you would do in your Haiku page. It's like, hey, this is who we are. This is my contact information as a teacher. This is how you can reach me. This is what we're going to be learning about in this class. I would make sure that my things like my learning targets were there. Like as I'm doing lessons or content, like here's my learning targets for this week. Any assignments that you give either inside of Canvas or outside, the grades need to be reflected in the grade book so that our parents can go at any time and look at the grades. And pretty much everything else is icing on the cake. Does that help? So I have been sharing this. I don't want this to freak you out, but I will share it with you. Let me pull this up. And you may have seen this, the Canvas course checklist. It looks scarier than it is, so feel free to avert your eyes if you're not in the mood for a fright, a screen jump, a jump scare. I'm joking, it's not that bad. Let me get into, oh my God, let me get into the right Google Drive. So I'm gonna have to put that low file on because my internet's just grinding to a halt here. Anyway, so this checklist essentially we'll go through and it says, okay, here's the stuff that you really kind of are must-haves. And it talks about learning targets, elements of our common instructional framework. Just, make sure your links work. Go through your content and make sure, hey, all my links work and things like that, and so forth. So that's that'll help you. So those are all listed as sort of on this checklist as like 1-star items. Sort of like, these are the basics, get these taken care of. And then everything else is like either 2-star or 3 stars on this little checklist. And it's sort of like, these are, again, I would say icing on the cake. Let me see if I can find that for you. And I'll post a link. I've been sharing this. So we've got some folks doing some full course development for us as a district. And it's pretty much the tool that we are going to, trolling me this morning. It's pretty much the tool that we're going to use to evaluate. Come on, give me that. Okay. Those courses. So again, it's pretty basic stuff. It's stuff that you already know, that you would probably do anyway. So again, the number one things that I would say is, your grades need to be up to date on your Canvas. Like, make sure that, if a student has grades in your class, that they're reflected in Canvas, and learning targets and stuff like that. And just, so that parents can tell, hey, this is what's going on. So I'm going to share this with you. Actually, let me put a link in there, and I'll make it a copy version, and you can have your own copy of it. So that second version I put in there would give you your own copy of this course evaluation checklist. And this is a thing that I would use just to say, okay, I've got my course built, or I've started building my Canvas. Does it have a home page? Does the navigation work? Are my class expectations posted? Things like that. And those are all highlighted in blue with a 1-star, and some of them say SCS requirement. And I don't think you're going to find anything in there that would be surprising. Like, wow, like I've got so much to do now. It's all pretty straightforward. And if it's not, just let me know, and I'll clarify anything. So, so Shelly asked help with transferring content from Haiku to Canvas. So a couple things. One, I did a session on that a few weeks ago, and I'll if you'll shoot me an email, Shelly, I'll send you a link to that, and you can go back and review that. What I will tell you again is that the whole export and import thing is pretty much, it doesn't work too great. I would do just pretty much a copy paste side by side with those courses. I move my stuff over. Just a reminder, if there's stuff that you want in Haiku, make sure you get it out before the end of July, because that's when our contract is up, and I don't know how long it'll take them to flip the switch on that, but the end of July, I would actually shoot for the end of June. But okay, so Kelly and Shelly, I will send that link to you guys. Make a note here. And okay, yep, I'll send you both link to that. Okay, it's becoming very popular now. All right, so let's do this. I'll share the link right now in chat and save everybody the time. So I think I put it on my YouTube channel. Let me go and look. Nope. Moving your stuff. Here it is. All right. Okay, we're not actually going to watch that. No, we're not going to do like a workshop within a workshop. That's crazy. All right. So there's the link for anybody who may have missed the moving your stuff session. So that's there. So make sure you get that if you want it. What else can I help you all with today? Any other questions, burning questions, tips, tricks, anything else? I know for everyone, it's probably mostly just a matter of taking the time to kind of power through, starting to build or move your stuff over, and to the extent that you can, my recommendation would be to just kind of carve out some of that time and do it. It's kind of like I told our course developers in the last session, it goes back to that old cliche: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And just kind of say, I'm going to move 1 week or 1 page or 1 module from Haiku into Canvas this week, and another the next week, and another the next week, and so forth. Also, just a reminder that we do conclude the Growing with Canvas cohorts. Those are going to wrap up on March 26th. That will be a 1.0 full CEUs of digital learning credit, half of what you need for a renewal cycle for completing that. And you can go into that course and check your grades. And as long as you have submitted something for everything there's like 10 activities or 10 activities and quizzes or whatever. As long as you have something for every one of those things, you'll get full credit. That's how we'll evaluate that. Evaluations should open up sometime around March 26th or after. So I do get that question a lot too. So just another tip there. This should be in STAR soon, this session. So feel free to jump in and do an evaluation. And if you do have feedback, y'all, shoot me an email like, dude, you go too fast, or I don't get your geeky references, or whatever. By all means, shoot me some feedback. I love it. I really do. Anything else that I can help you all with today?
Hey, Lucas, I kind of come in a few minutes late. I was at another little meeting trying to hurry up and get down here. How long will it be before? Because I would just come in on the back end of like embed videos and all that. How long will it be before you'll have the link back up where I can go back and rewatch that?
Yeah, good question. So it typically is within, I don't know, usually Google's pretty good. It depends on how much Google's got going on today. 10, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes maybe before that link shows up in my inbox that the video is recorded. And then what I will do is I'll upload that content to my YouTube channel. And and I usually change the thumbnail and I might edit a little bit. That I really not a lot to edit today. So it should be here before long. Just keep an eye. Just go back to go back to this district support session document that looks like this, and I will swap out that link. And I'll make a note that says video recording link. In fact, there's that migrating your stuff to Canvas link right there as well. So I'll go and swap those out as soon as it's done. So just check back on that page.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just
on the grade for the Canvas thing, as long as you got like the little olive branch looking thing, that means it's complete, right?
Yeah, if you look at your grades and there is like a little something submitted for every one of that, there's like 10 activities and quizzes, then you're good. You're good to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like 6 point, I forget what the different modules are kind of organized or whatever, but just go through and as long as you've done all that stuff, you're in good shape.
All right, thanks, Lucas.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else I can help with today? Other questions? Well, I hope these sessions are helpful to you. Again, if you have ideas for something you would like to see, shoot me an email. Pop over to that Facebook group if you haven't. That link is shared. I know it's in every course that we've got. That I put that in the announcement somewhere in the cohorts or whatever. So just pop over there. Feel free to join that group. Love to have you. It's very low pressure environment, but it's just a place for me to say, hey, what do you think about this, or what can we do to help? It's just another way that I can communicate with everybody. So happy to help you. Any other questions? All right. Well, I will stick around for a moment. Let me just double check my calendar, make sure I'm not going to miss something here. Yeah, I'm good. So I will stick around for a little bit. If you have anything else I can help with, you want to kind of hang around. Simon says, I'll have plans, but okay, Kelly, I'll take a look at yours and see. You're probably good. I can double check that and see. All right. Well, everyone, thank you all for spending part of your Friday with me. Hope you all have a super awesome day, super awesome weekend. You got paid. Like, don't spend it all in one place and all that good stuff. And I hope you all have a great week.
Oh, Lucas, I've got one more question that has nothing to do with Canvas. So
Okay.
this could be like a refresh, like, hey, I don't even have to worry about it now.
Yeah.
And it's not like you haven't, had a lot of other things to do to look at, but Epic stuff.
Yeah.
I went through and like right before all that change went over, I tried to complete a few more of the tasks that I had done that I hadn't been able to just with other stuff. How do I know if those are completely done since that's already changed now, or have you even had time to look at it?
I really haven't had a whole. Basically, what I did. Oh, it's still like the worst. It was a 2020 thing. Of course, it happened in 2020 when I got notification that company was just shutting their doors, and I was like, oh my gosh, the platform that we use, and I've poured all my life and heart and soul, and so many of my teachers have too, is going away. So I went in. My number one priority is like, I got to get everything that's in here out, have it backed up, and so aside from that, I've moved some of that content into Canvas. What I have got to figure out is what Epic Academy looks like in Canvas, and how to run it. There's just no way it's going to be the same, but there's a lot of stuff that could work. I just got to figure out how to put it together.
Because I went through.
I have, like, if you went in, like, I have a spreadsheet that I did an export of a spreadsheet that shows like how much experience you'd earned. So I do have that archived and available, so I can look at that. And then if we get to a point once we, at some point in the future, once we relaunch Canvas, not Canvas. Once we relaunch Epic, if you think, hey, I'm missing some badges or whatever, let me know, and I'll make sure that you get those.
Because with everything going remote and stuff, I was able, because I started the YouTube journey. I'm like, I'm never gonna make a YouTube video and all that, and then 2020 rolled around and said, guess what? And so I actually had, so I was like, oh, I can do that one, and I found a few more that I went in and done that, and it's like I said, I just hadn't think about it because my banner's still up in the gym down here, and
awesome.
And the other day, and it, like, I guess where the cold weather and all that, it was like fell like halfway over, and I put it up and I said, I need to ask Lucas next time.
Yeah. So I will say this too.
There's no pressure or anything.
Yeah, no. So the stuff that people were doing a lot of in the summer, like you, I know you and some others were doing. I've got a spreadsheet where I've got all that recorded as well. So you reminded me of that. It's been like, God, it seems like it was years ago. This year,
it's been a few months.
Right? So I do have that documented. Like, if you like, it's basically like an IOU list of badges. Like, I owe this person this. I've got that in the spreadsheet. And so one day I'm just going to say, okay, I'm marking out some time, and it's going to be like Santa Claus, and here's all your stickers,
It's going to be like, you'll be like, Oprah, you get a badge. You get a badge.
That's right. I mean, seriously, there's like some people, working from home or whatever. And that's why I had to do that, because I wasn't here in the office to be able to collect them, send them out through interoffice mail or whatever. Some people like racked up some serious badges during that kind of work from home time. So I've got that in a spreadsheet. I'm glad you said it because I'm reminded of it. Yep.
All right, I appreciate it, Lucas. Have a good day.
No problem. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.